More than a month ago, France was rocked by 2 terror attacks. A lot has happened since then. The French government began a wide-ranging crackdown on radicals. An imam was punished for propagating terror through TikTok. Leaders of the Muslim world led a vicious campaign against Emmanuel Macron. There were protests, even violence. But all that failed to derail the French president's campaign against radical Islam. Now, the French government has launched a massive and unprecedented wave of measures to combat religious extremism. Here is what is about to happen. In the coming days, France is expected to investigate at least 76 mosques. In addition to that, more than 2,600 Muslim places of worship have been flagged. Reportedly, they have been tagged as possible threats to France's republican values and security. France is expected to investigate these places of worship. If the doubts are confirmed, they will be closed down. In addition to that, France is deporting 66 undocumented migrants. They are suspected of radicalization. The French Interior Minister shared an interview today on Twitter. He said more than 200 illegal aliens have been flagged for radicalization. As we told you, 66 were expelled, 46 are in administrative detention centers, 30 under house arrest, and 5 incarcerated. This is a major step in Macron's fight against radical Islam. Back in October, France had temporarily closed the Grand Mosque of Pantin outside Paris. This was after the beheading of Samuel Paty, the teacher who had shown cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad to his class. The mosque had shared a video on its Facebook page. Reportedly, this video was of a man. He had directed verbal attacks at Samuel Paty before the beheading. Allegedly, this man's daughter was in Samuel Paty's class. In that video, he had called Paty a thug and called for other parents to join the campaign against the teacher. Paty's move had triggered outrage among some parents who were calling for his resignation. The gruesome murder of Samuel Paty, followed by the attack in Nice, forced France to push for a law that specifically targets radical Islam. The bill has now been finalized. Reportedly, it will be presented to the French cabinet next week. After that, it will be introduced in the parliament. Some of the proposals of this bill include restrictions on homeschooling, harsh punishments for those who intimidate public officials on religious grounds, a national identification number for all children. This is to ensure that they are attending school. Now, let me be clear. This is not a measure specifically directed at Muslim children. All children in France, irrespective of their religion, will get a national identification number. The bill also proposes a ban on sharing personal information in a way that could allow someone to cause harm. It hasn't been smooth sailing for Emmanuel Macron. His government recently had to withdraw a proposed bill that would have curbed the right to film police officers in action. The bill had led to a massive uproar in France, with rights advocates taking to the streets to protest, even when France is battling a second wave of Wuhan virus cases. But the French president has not deviated from his goal, the mission to defeat radical Islam. Last month, he has called for a rapid and coordinated European response to the recent terror attacks. This was an outreach to the leadership of the European Union. While the bloc has been thinking about a larger effort to tame radical Islam, it has been put in a spot by countries like Turkey. Turkey has a trading relationship with the European Union and it had applied to become a full member. But Turkey's bid for EU membership could now be evaporating. In fact, the bloc is mulling sanctions against Turkey.